Welcome back. Ready to get into the next chapter. And just as a reminder, this video is also being pre-recorded. So you should be seeing this on the 6th of July. This is chapter 19 of Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void, and it is the final chapter. So we'll be finishing it up. And it's a short one, so let's just jump right into it. So chapter 19, Might, as always, starts with a quote. I can never tell anyone what I saw in the depths of the old city. There are no words, but I hope one day I can show them. Dalian Brock Diaries, 10/661 TYA. In the end, she decided her parents could wait. That was a reunion she dreaded, and not only because she had killed her own brother. She dreaded it most because she had failed to save him a second time. Storm still raged across Tython as she coaxed her damaged peacemaker down onto one of Analkesh's landing pads. The ship needed repairs, and her droid required some special attention from those expert in such technologies. Most of all, Trey was balancing between life and death. She had done her best for him, but her brief ministrations might have been worthless. He needed the attention of someone experienced in force healing. She had spoken to him every moment of their brief flight to Analkesh, and though he was in a deep coma, she hoped it had done some good. It certainly made her feel better, no longer talking to herself. But Lannery's dark matters were not yet over. And even though her mission was all but completed, she sensed something greater occurring on Tython. Master Dampole met her on the landing pad, hood raised against the rain. Lannery, Dampole said, with genuine affection. Lannery went to kneel, but Dampole pulled her into an embrace. She submitted to it and rested her head on the shorter master's shoulder. Your balance is unsettled, Dampole whispered. Yes, master. I killed my brother. Dampole sighed heavily. These are dark times. Please come with me so that we can talk. We'll eat and drink. I'll welcome the company. I'm acting temple master here in Master Quangjang's absence. Where is he? Away. Now come. Dampole held out her hand. Tell me everything, and then I have plenty to tell you. I thought it was over, Lannery said, looking up at the skies to the east. Lightning danced there, and powerful winds swept stinging rain across Anilkesh's exposed surfaces. Beneath the temple, the chasm roared. Darkness seemed to rise from there, though it was almost midday. Even after everything Lannery had seen and done, it made her shiver. Your mission is over, Dampole said. Together they watched 3 Jedi Rangers who were carefully carrying the device from the Peacemaker, place it on a stable trolley and roll it toward an open door. It was destined for one of Anilkesh's laboratories. Lannery only hoped that the Jedi could learn from it. But a great story is beginning. Master Dampole told Lannery of the alien ship that had entered the system, exploded above Tython, and then crashed somewhere near the rift, perhaps in the abyss of Ru itself. Its arrival had caused the dreadful force storms that still rippled across the planet, and the Jedi were unsettled. Master Quangjong is one of many seeking news of the crashed ship, Dampole said. I fear it means changes coming for Tython. Fear? Lannery asked. There was a disturbance in the force before the ship crashed, a wave of darkness, a terrible voice of pain, and then silence as death fell. I sensed that also, Lannery said, on my way from Sunspot. Many Jedi did, Dampole said. Those on the ship were force sensitives. From out of system? We believe so. Dampole nodded gently, but said no more. She could sense Lannery's need to talk. So now your story, she said. They sat in Master Dampole's laboratory, and Lannery told her everything. Bad things, Dampole said when the story was almost over. Such bad things. I hope Tresana can be saved. He's a strange man, Lannery said. She was surprised to find herself smiling. So hard when I met him. Harsh, selfish. He had troublesome views, and he even told me some of the things he'd done. Not the worst things, I'm sure, but he was very open about his past. Some would have called him wicked, or even evil. But he helped me several times, and I saw the better man inside. I sensed that also, Dampole said. That's why I chose him to be my eyes and ears. You really promised him what he said? I did, she said softly. If he survives, I'll keep my word. He came for me on Sunspot, saved me, and I think he was willing to sacrifice himself to save my life again down in the old city. He knew what was at stake. If he hadn't put himself in the way of that laser blast, I might have died. Your alchemical skills are quite remarkable. Only what you taught me, Master. No, what you did cannot be taught, Lannery. You're a natural. Just be careful when you continue your experiments. I'm not sure I will continue, Lannery said. Oh, you will, Dampole smiled, but it quickly faded. But what you did, the dark tempts you. It teases with the power it could give, and killing your brother has pushed you that way also. You feel conflicted. You feel confused. Yes, Master. Brush aside the confusion, Dampole said. That is the first step to confronting any imbalance. Know that you are troubled, or be comfortable that you are not. Be honest with yourself, and I am here, Lannery. We are all here to help, every single master, because, she shrugged, it could be you saved us all. I feel that my balance is swayed, Master, but I have not fallen, and I will not. Dampole raised an eyebrow, took a drink, delicately wiped her mouth. So the thread is quashed, and another rises in its place. You'll be wanting to rest before your journey back to Bodhi and your parents. No, Lannery said. I'm not going home just yet. And rest will wait. I still have questions. Oh, Master Dampole said, but she knew very well that Lannery had more to ask. The hypergate. I felt it. You felt something in the old city, as anyone particularly talented in the Force will, just as the chasm causes disturbance, and the abyss of Ru, and other places on Tython. Your brother was right in one regard at least. This is not our planet. But I felt such power, like something waiting. The wine's finished. I need to fetch another bottle. Dampole stood and went to turn away. Lannery grasped her robe and pulled her back around so that they were face to face. It was an audacious move, handling a master like this, but Lannery felt justified. Master, is there a hypergate down there? Dampole looked down at Lannery's hand on her sleeve, waiting until it was released. Whether there is or isn't, whether anyone knows for sure or not, doesn't change what you did, Lannery. If that Gree device had been turned on, well, might not be here now. Friends, with wine. The whole system might not be here anymore. Might, Lannery said. Civilization is built on the word, Dampole smiled. You serve the Jedi well, Lannery. You remember when you and your brother first came to Anilkesh? I saw the potential in you then, and when you returned to complete your training after you thought he had died, and we spent long days together here in this laboratory. She gestured around at dark corners and flickering candles. That's when I knew for sure you would one day be a great Jedi. I was not afraid to tell you so, and today I'm not afraid to claim an element of pride because I was right. You are a great Jedi, and on your journey you might need to learn when to confront things and when to turn away, when to obey your masters and when not. She shrugged. That word might again. It means perhaps, and it also means strength. Maybe it's doubt that gives true strength, Lannery? Balance is easy. Shifting from balance and finding it again means you have to be stronger than most, and I have every confidence in you. The Jedi Master turned away again and walked across the laboratory, past benches where she and Lannery had practiced alchemies and manipulation. As she returned with a new bottle of wine, Lannery had one more question to ask. Master, where did the information about Dal, the Stargazers, and their device come from? Dampole nodded, as if affirming something to herself. It's Calamar you need to visit. Yes, Lannery said. Calamar. She held up her glass for one more drink. On her way to Calamar, Lannery had time to reflect on what she had done. Your balance is unsettled, Master Dampole had said, and Lannery could not disagree with the Master. Darkness haunted her dreams, and sometimes she found herself dreaming of Bogan. All that troubled her, yet her journey was not yet done. When it was over soon, she was confident that she was strong enough to correct the unbalance herself. She was surprised to find herself lonely. Iron holes remained at Anilkesh, being repaired by a young journeyer whose talent was mechanics, and without Trey here, her cabin felt too large, her ship too silent. She spoke to herself again, but was sad that there was no reply. Trey's prognosis was good, she had been told. She held on to the delight she felt at this fact. She thought perhaps she had made a friend. A group of journeyers led by Master Kinnaid had searched for Dal's body for some time, but it was never found. Creatures, Lannery thought. There could be anything down there. There are depths. She sat staring at her experiment for some time. It was shriveled and denuded, and should have been blasted into space, yet she could not rid herself of it. Darkness danced around the petrified flesh, and Lannery tried several times to find life still within it. At first it was simply dead, but then, half a day out from Calamar, her force senses perceived a speck of flesh that pulsed with life once more. Given time, she could relearn the alchemy of flesh. She would relearn the alchemy of flesh. Its draw was too great to ignore, and she was strong. On Calamar there was nothing to find. Kara's high apartment was abandoned. The damage caused by the battle she and Trey had fought with the fat woman's sentry droids had been repaired. The secret room Lannery had discovered was clean and empty now, opened up as part of the apartment. Everything personal was gone. Kara had left her apartments for the first time in 13 years, and they should have been desirable real estate. and yet no one had chosen to rent it. There was something dark about that space. Any inquiries she made as to Kara's location were met with a blank wall. Most claimed not to have heard of her. The several times Lannery used a subtle force trick to read her associates' minds, she found confused images of Kara as friend and threat, but no indication of where she was now. They had all known her, and they were lying about that, but when it came to her whereabouts, they told the truth. Kara had vanished. With her, so the militia captain Loris told Lannery, had gone several other high-profile members of the Rolyan community. One day they were there, the next not. Their homes were abandoned, sometimes still filled with personal possessions. Their business interests were left without directors. There was never any trace. "Maybe you're better off without them," Lannery suggested. "And why would you say that?" Loris asked her. "Because they weren't what they seemed. They were darker. They had their sights elsewhere, and when it suited them, they fed information to the Jedi, brought me here, made my brother and his cronies speed up their plans. I think perhaps Kara and her like are the real stargazers." She left Calamar the same day that she arrived, sensing that Loris was glad to see her go, and she was glad to leave. She thought of iron holds being repaired. There were the machines, and there were the masters, the tools that function and react, and the programmers who use them for their own ends. She suspected that Dal had been a machine, a tool, and that Kara and her missing comrades were the real masters. Perhaps Dal had been moving too slowly with his schemes, and his masters had wanted to encourage him to speed up. And what better way than to set the Jedi on his trail? Lannery did not like the feeling of being used, and yet it was something that haunted her. But now Tython was her destination once more. Her parents awaited, and it was time for their daughter to come home. After the second After the second remembrance service for Dal, she would stay for a while. She would wander the grassy plains round Bodhi Temple alone, perhaps swim in the river, and watch the weave birds making nests. And when darkness fell, she would lie back and contemplate the Ashla and Bogan, and her place of balance between them. And that is the end of that chapter and the end of the book. For anyone that's interested, it was written by Tim Leben. And in this particular Kindle version of it, there are also some short stories. One of them being Eruption, which I already read because it's technically timed before this novel. But I don't think the rest are just excerpts, so I'm not going to be reading those. But that ends the Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void, and I'll have to look up what the next thing is, but we'll get into it in the next session, which will be July 13th. So we'll see you then.